a majority of the world's population does not have access to sufficient vegetables to actually meet a healthy diet. And also, in turn, with impacts from climate change, it's getting harder and harder to continue producing food. So we're having to clear more land and just keep expanding our agricultural practices. Whereas what we really need to be doing, and what people are starting, is something called sustainable intensification, where we're producing more food from less land so that there is more land available for things like reforestation, and really not having to have that negative impact like clearing the land that we have traditionally had to have with agriculture. There are researchers making all of these amazing discoveries all the time that never really make it to market because that process isn't something that's really well taught to a lot of scientific people. We don't get taught market discovery in school. We don't get taught how to do basic business, how to see an idea and be like, hey, this can solve a real world problem that I think people would actually pay money to solve. We can get this out into the real world and make something of it. And I think that's a real shame because there's a lot of amazing research that just kind of sits there and doesn't make the positive impact that it could, which is really like a waste of resources and like just detrimental to society as a whole. Yeah, so I connected up with some professors at the University of Waterloo who are researching plant growth promoting microbes, since that was an area I was interested in, and started to help them do market discovery since I had gained some business experience in the previous year when I had worked on a startup that I had started with a friend. And one of the things that we had determined was I was working with them, it's like, wow, we have this amazing market opportunity here with these microbial products and the ability to not only make a social impact where we help increase fresh vegetable production so that the people have a more sustainable, better opportunity to access those sort of fresh vegetables, but also to increase the environmental sustainability of agriculture by increasing the amount of food that we can produce from the same amount of land. So Ceragen is developing microbial products that help plants in a number of ways. So these microbes that we're combining into basically consortiums or groups of microbes to help the plant offer benefits like nitrogen fixation, helping the plants absorb phosphorus, promoting growth, as well as regulating stress. And how we do that is we basically take known plant growth promoting microbes that we have isolated from environmental samples, and we test them in all these different plants. We figure out which ones work best under which circumstances in which plants. Our first product, Ceragen Accelerate, is for use in tomato crops, and we've seen anywhere upwards of 20% yield increases in tomatoes in our tests. So we are currently in commercial trials for that product, and we have 3 commercial pilots ongoing with greenhouse tomato growers. Our mission is to help growers sustainably increase crop yields so that they can generate more revenue from their farms, as well as produce more food to help feed our growing population. I think the concept of the microbiome is pretty new in the agricultural space, all things considered in agriculture. So this isn't an area where a lot of people have paid attention to in the past, and it's only really started to gain traction in the last little while. So I think that the newness of the problem is something that we do have to face. And also, there have been some products that have been used before that didn't necessarily live up to the claims that they made. So having really good testing data, having really good validity on the function of our products is something that we've been really striving towards.